garage tonight we have the 73 Pontiac Ventura, and we need to get the 26-year-old plus gas out of it because it stinks and it will not run on it. So I'm just going to try a hand pump, put it in a bucket. Not exactly sure how much is in it. Could be full, could be half, I don't know. We're going to find out. For all you young folks, this is where you put the gas in these old cars. This bumper's just sitting on here. It's kind of bent up, so we'll be getting a new one. But what I have here is just a transfer pump of sorts. Pump it into this bucket and probably use it in the lawnmower. Maybe. Don't want to waste it. It's expensive. And this is vintage gas. This tube down in there. Good. Just pump away. Oh, nasty. Super nasty. I may have to go get another jug. Alright, I'll be right back. I'll go get some more empties. It's good. So yeah, we filled that 5-gallon bucket. We got about 2 gallons in there. We got to get this fuel distribution block out of here. It's a vacuum secondary. I hate vacuum secondaries. And it's a 4010 series Holley, and I don't like them either. I think Holley had good intent with these, but I just don't like them. I ordered a 750 CFM double pumper. It'll fit right on there. Now, this one here is a 750 CFM. Seems maybe a little much for this motor, but well, we'll see. You can always lean it up a little bit. I think, and get rid of that Widowmaker fuel filter. Those are glass. You know what happens when that breaks and then it starts squirting fuel all over the engine. Not a good idea. Alright, so let's get into it here. I went ahead, took the throttle cable off the kick down, disconnected these vacuum hoses. One goes to the distributor and one goes to the kick down on the Turbo 350. So at any rate, I took the cables off, took the bolts out, took the fuel line off obviously, so we'll pull this carburetor off here. Now off screen, I went ahead and I'll show you this new carburetor. So shiny. This is a Holley 750 double pumper. Mechanical secondaries. I went ahead and put the fuel line on. And I transferred over the kick down post and the throttle linkage here. Now, one thing with these carburetors, before you put them on, flip it over, and on this front set of throttle plates, if I move it just a little bit here, ouch, you'll see that transfer slot right here. Make sure that looks like a square to start out with. So adjust your idle screw until that looks like a small square right there. Not a rectangle, but a small square. You should be good there. Now I did go ahead, test it with air here to make sure I don't have any leaks on these. And I did use some thread compound on both of these. So this is ready to go back on. Just gotta get a gasket out here. Now on these base gaskets they give you, these are just the cardboard or whatever they're made out of. I went ahead and greased this one. So just take some grease and kind of knead it on in and then dry it off, you know, rub it in. I'm sure you know what that is. So we'll go ahead and put this base gasket on. This intake, spread bore style intake, it's an older Edelbrock dual plane. It'll work. Now we have a vacuum line that goes on the back here. You can see that. So make sure we put that back in. I don't know why they did that. We might have to change on that a little bit. Should get that pushed in all the way. Alright. I really don't like that. I don't like the way they have that routed. I'm going to move that over to this side. Yeah, I think so. It gets right in the way of the throttle. This one we can leave here. Anyway, yeah, make sure it sits flush. Get some washers and bolts or nuts for those. Now when you're tightening these down, don't get crazy with them. Use a ratchet. Don't use probably not a good idea to use a power tool. Because you can crack these base plates pretty easy. And then she'll leak fuel, or you'll have a wild intake air leak that you will scratch your head and be like, what happened? I don't see anything. So yeah, just use a ratchet. Snug them up corner to corner. Now you'll see on this does have the manual choke. I don't have a manual choke cable on this car yet, but I will. So I just took a piece of wire and went from the cable bracket to the linkage, just kind of like a piece of coat hanger wire. So it's stuck to a wide open position. Now I gotta find my socket. Okay. You're gonna want to give it about half an elbow torque. Any more than that, you might actually pinch the gasket too. So, gonna make it leak. I think we're good. So then hook this throttle back up. It just pushes back onto this ball and socket there. Got a return spring here. And put that back on. If I can get it. There we go. And then lastly, this kick down, which I think I don't have a washer for. I'm gonna have to find one maybe. We don't need that to get it running right now. All right. Well, we got the carburetor all on there. I went ahead and put some fuel line on, a new fuel filter here. This is probably not the way I'll leave it, but for now I think it's good. And everything's hooked up that needs to be hooked up to make this fire off. I did go ahead and connect that advance to that plate vacuum down there, which should be full vacuum all the time. One thing with these carburetors, if it's below the throttle plate, then it's usually full vacuum. If it's above the throttle plate, which this one here is basically right above the throttle plate, then that's usually timed vacuum. I think we'll crank it over a few, make sure we don't have any fuel leaks, and try to get these bowls filled, and then we'll see if it fires off. Alright, she's filling up, that's good. See if the fuel bowls are getting anything here. No, no, not yet. Alright, let's give her a little. Oh, yep, I heard the accelerator pump's working, so she should fire. He opened up this garage door just a little bit. Alright, so we've got fuel in the filter. Obviously it's getting into the bowls now because the accelerator pump works. So I think it's time to see if this thing will crack off and stay running. Now the thing is, this car would start it up for me before when I first bought it by squirting new fuel down in it. It wouldn't run off the stuff in the carb. So this is the first start and idle, not that we've just fixed the engine and got it to fire for the very first time, because it has fired before. So let's see what happens here. Keep it running. Oh. I'll go get the vacuum gauge and we'll see where the four corner idles are at. Well, I got the vacuum gauge on it, so I did go through, set all four corner idle screws to the same level. They were off. So I had a turn and a half on the front, half a turn in the rear, so they were, you know, you need to start somewhere. So I turned them all out a turn and a half, which would be probably the max on most carburetors. So we'll start it up and we'll start going through them, get this four corner idle set, and I bet that pop goes away. Now ideally you'd want to do this with a buddy, and you want to put the car warmed up, put it down in gear, and then set your four corner idle, but I don't have that luxury right now, so we'll just do it my way. It's fine. fatten it up. I can smell it now. See how it's not popping now when you get into the secondaries? Alright, we'll start turning these screws. Fine-tune it a little bit more, but I still want to go through the timing, still want to go through the spark plugs, check the points, which I'm sure this still has, do all those things first, and then I can go back and tweak a little bit more on this carburetor, but it's smelling much better now. Turning those out at turn and a half each was way too much, so runs pretty good. It's got great oil pressure. Temp gauge is coming up and holding. Yeah. Pretty good, pretty good. Liking that. So the engine runs pretty solid. Again, this motor was rebuilt. Transmission was gone through, new radiator, new hoses, everything was gone through back in 1996. And then this thing was just shoved in the corner and parked. I'll go through it. Again, I'll probably put some new plugs in it. Check those points, file them, clean them. Get the timing light out, make sure my timing's good. And I think this thing's gonna be a great runner. Now, I'm not trying to make a race car or anything out of this, just a cruiser. But I was noticing over here on the Trans Am that those wheels on this thing are the same bolt pattern, and they might look pretty good on the Ventura. Because those are, in my opinion, a little hideous. It's a good little car. I got a lot of work to do on it, and I will be filming more in the weeks to come. I'll try to get more content on this quicker than what I have been. I think next I'm going to order some wheels and get the windshield coming, so we can at least take this thing on a drive and see how it drives down the road. See if the transmission shift's good. You know, if this motor has a little bit of power. I'm assuming if the cam was changed out at all, it's very close to stock. As I'm not hearing the cam come through on here. This does have glass packs, I think, on it. I haven't really even dug in there. It does have factory exhaust manifolds, but it does have duals going all the way out the back. I think I'll show you here. Yeah. You can see where they were dumping out some nastiness. It does look like there's a color difference between here and there, doesn't it? But when you come over, it looks normal. Huh. Don't matter. I think I'm gonna have this car wrapped in white. Probably drive it this way for a while and then have it wrapped. Fine tune that carburetor, because it takes a little bit to get them really dialed in. And the other thing here is you need to be able to take it out on the road and test on it, not just here idling in the garage. Got to film an outro. All right, I'd like to thank you all for joining me, getting the 73 Pontiac Ventura up and idling on its own. Get that old gas out of it, get the new carburetor on it. Next, I'm gonna get some wheels and tires and a windshield so we can go out and rip this car around a little bit. A lot more content to come. We have a lot to finish. Please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, help me grow this channel. That takes you. And until next time,